Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Providence. Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Brian David Marshall, and we're just about underway in round number 15, where we have multiple win-ins in the feature match here, including the one we have on our main feature match here. Brian Brown doing, he has got Obzon aggro in his hands, and he's going to see if he can beat the Red-Green Dragons of our 23rd ranked player, Steve Rubin.
23rd with a bullet.
Oh, yes. Platinum.
Platinum. We talked about how right now Steve Rubin, at minimum 12-3, is going to jump up a whole spot in the at-large berth rankings for the world championship. If he wins this tournament, he can go from being 24th to like 19th.
Wow.
You know, huge event for him here.
Wow, so big match for him here, and of course for BBD as well.
Yeah, but a Dramoka's command to take it down the Elvish Mystic.
Ooh.
With the Warden of the first tree.
Yeah, that's a nice start there. It's going to stifle the mana from Steve Rubin and make sure that Brian can keep hitting here. Is he going to make it a 3-3 and effectively a 4-4? No, it's just going to attack for 2, but that's because he's got Inoffensive the Foremost as the follow-up play, and all of a sudden the ball is firmly in Steve Rubin's court, and he has to be reactive here, which is not what he wants to do. He's going to play a face-down morph. He's going to take a damage off of his mana confluence.
All right, that's a Rattleclaw Mystic.
Make sure the players wrote that down. Good. And, yeah, this Rattleclaw Mystic has a lot of pressure on it because he's not really going to be able to block with it. It would just be a chump block anyway, as on offense is going to put another +1/+1 counter on the Warden. And he's even going to make it a 3-3. So this is an attack for 9. Jeez. Beat down for BBD. Does he have a follow-up too?
Does he need one?
Not really.
Yes, he
but
does.
He's got one. So
he's got a Warden of the second tree.
Not legendary. That does mean, though, that Steve Rubin gets to untap with his Rattleclaw Mystic, which can propel him into something huge. It looks like he's going to get to deploy one big spell this game, and if it can stabilize him, he might be able to take it into the late game, but if he can't, BBD's going to run him over.
He does have main deck roasts. You know, not something that necessarily all the decks of this sort have, but there's, so he unmorphs.
3, 4, 5, and it's a Storm Breath Dragon and a pass, so BBD just needs some way to get something out of the way here.
Now, Storm Breath Dragon can keep the Inoffensive the Foremost at bay. Protection from white means that Inoffensive the Foremost cannot block it easily. Means that the Obzon Charms in hand can't be used to target it.
No, and they can't, and they're not going to be good enough to take out the Mystic, which is actually threatening to chump block while Inoffensive gets killed by Storm Breath and keep Steve Rubin alive, but barely. Now, the good news here for BBD is that he gets to make a 2-2 here, and he gets to just leave his mana up. So he's going to attack with the bunch. The obvious block is on Inoffensive, and then but Steve Rubin would be priced into blocking one of the other Wardens, or else he would face death here. Right now, this is a lethal attack, and BBD does have as well. That's lethal right there. That's going to do it. Obzon Charm puts 2 more counters, and that's 7 even, and that's the game.
Wow.
That was BBD with the beatdowns.
That was a dispatchal.
No kidding. And it really started from that early play when the elf got hit. Yep. That was it. I mean, you take this Red-Green Dragons deck off of its first mana accelerator, and it looks a lot slower when you can capitalize on it in the way that BBD did. You can finish him off quickly.
I love how Dromoka's command fits into this Obzon aggro deck.
It's pretty sweet.
You know, letting you just do a lot of really mean things with your death dealers.
So let's jump over to our other match in which we have Eric Severson, not Severson. Playing against Josh Ravitz. This is another win-in as well, though, for both of these players here. So a big match.
So this is Bant Megamorph, a deck we haven't seen a ton of today, against Josh Ravitz playing Obzon Megamorph, a deck we've seen a metric blank ton of today.
Eric Severson putting up a decent fight here with his Fleece main line. Randy, you got an update for us?
Yeah, I've been watching, not in the feature match area, but Willie Adel and Patrick Dickman got paired this round. both of them trying to get to 12-3 and pick up 3 pro points. If Edel wins this round, he passes Thiago Saporito for the Latin American invite to Worlds. So
whoa, huge stakes for him.
Huge stakes. Edel loves his Whip of Erebos deck. It's like 4-color Sidisi Whip deck. He had Whip out for multiple turns. Dickmon kills the Sidisi that was coming back as a response to the trigger. And then on the last turn, as Sidisi Undead Vizier is attacking, Dickmon dig through time, finds Valorous Stance.
Oh.
Willie never gained any life, and then Patrick just shows him the Mantis Rider that could attack for lethal on the next turn.
Wow.
Crazy game 1 win for Patrick Dickmon. Really well played. Heartbreaking.
Thanks, Randy. Back to business here in the feature match area. We got a close one, it looks like. Deathmiss Raptor and Courser of Crewfix on board for Josh Ravitz with a Siege Rhino impending on top of his library there. Enough so that he can even just go ahead and attack here with his Deathmiss Raptor. And play a second copy of Courser of Crewfix in a land to gain 2 life and jump back up to 15. See 2 different flavors of Megamorph going on here.
2 different flavors of life gain, too.
Indeed.
Severson's going to go to 10 here.
Master of the Unseen main deck for Severson.
Side's not.
All right, Valorous Stance to take down one of the Coursers of Crewfix.
now
But
he's
wait,
gonna-
there's more.
Oh, look at that.
Den Protector, gain 2 life, get back Valorous Stance. Uh-oh. This could have been the turning point here for Severson. It looked like Ravitz is in pretty good position with 2 cards left in hand and a Siege Rhino on top of his library, but that was a nasty sequence there from Severson, who's working to stabilize his life total. And while the door's open, Josh Ravitz is going to close it on the Fleecebane line, becoming monstrous by using his Hero's Downfall here.
Oh, you might have done that in response to the life gain trigger, I would assume.
Okay. Good point, BDM. And here comes Den Protector into the red zone. And the follow-up is just another Fleecebane line, but we do know about that Valor Stance. All right, looks like we're back underway in our main match. Let's jump back over there as we hit the early turns here. Not a lot of action so far, just some lands from either players here. Randy, did you have an update too?
Yeah, Alexander Hayne may not be in this top 8, but he did get 3 pro points. He's already won his match off camera this round. So his 4-point lead over Pascal Maynard is now a 7-point lead over Pascal Maynard. Pascal can only catch him by winning a Grand Prix, and that's only if Hayne doesn't get points at it.
It's a tall order.
Hayne's still 1 point short of platinum, though. That's business still to be done at the Pro Tour.
Of course. Another solid finish for Hayne.
Yeah, guy's a machine.
Just come to expect it at this point. You know, you don't want to take anything away from him, but it's like, yeah, Hayne again. You know, just crushed another GP. 1 win away from top 8. What else is new? Yeah, he's been remarkably consistent. I think he's already got, what, like 4 top 8s this season, including a win? Insane Hayne indeed. And this is going to be Draconic Roar to kill Fleecebane Lion. And a follow-up by Steve Rubin is a face-down morph creature. So this game looks a lot different as Brian Braunduin has not been able to come out to that crushing start that he had before. He did make a turn 2 Fleecebane. I mean, no problem, but it died immediately, and right now he has no board.
Looks like he is holding a Rakshasa Death Dealer.
Yeah, he can put out a threat here. But he knows that
looks like he's also holding a Drown in Sorrow, which may be what he's... Nope. So he plays the Fleecebane line instead.
I think he's got a self-inflicted wound as well, which of course doesn't do anything against the morph, but since it's probably a Den Protector, he'll be able to kill it later maybe.
What do you think about the mob rule in Steve Rubin's sideboard?
Oh, here's a roast. Mob rule? Oh, that's insane.
Yeah, two main deck roasts for Steve Rubin, 2 in the sideboard.
Okay.
And
almost
certainly bringing going up to 4.
Yeah. He's going to fire 1 off on a Fleecebane line here.
In fact, when we've watched him play against Obzon, he's brought in 3 cards. I'm assuming 2 are roast, and I'm hoping The fourth is mob. The third is mob rule, but we haven't seen it come into play yet.
Yeah, based on how game 1 went, I think he'd be a little hesitant to bring in the 6-mana sorcery, but it probably would win him the game if he cast it.
So here comes Drowning Sorrow. Get your morph.
Wow,
get
this
your
is
elf.
nice. This is going to wipe the board here and make sure that, in fact, it was a raptor. Doesn't get to be turned face up, though. I got to say, Steve Rubin definitely has played the Death Mist Raptor face down here, so now, having that in the yard's never terrible. Is there a follow-up for BBD? Or is he just past the turn back?
Looks like he's got a Siege Rhino and a handful of reactive cards.
Okay. Well, what does Steve Rubin have? He's got 3 mana and a Rabble Master, so that'll do just nicely.
Get you down to 12. Starts looking meaningfully at his graveyard.
Yeah, once again, Brian Bronduin has to react here, and that self-inflicted wound isn't going to get the job done. He has a Hero's Downfall, I believe.
Yeah, Hero's Downfall, self-inflicted wound.
Siege Rhino.
Siege Rhino. Possibly a Death Dealer. Last card.
Yeah, it is a Death Dealer. You saw it right. Yeah, this is a tough one. If BBD plays the Siege Rhino, then he can sort of turn the corner, block a token, eventually start attacking, kill the Rabble Master later. But if the Siege Rhino gets roasted, then he takes 4 damage. He takes 6 damage, and things can get out of hand pretty quickly. It looks like he's decided to take that risk on, though. Play the Siege Rhino, bolster up his life total, and just dare Steve Rubin to have some type of removal spell. Roast is the main one that he'd have that would just kill the Siege Rhino outright.
Yeah, Rubin also plays Crater's Claws.
Crater's Claws would not quite get the job done here. You need a land to do that. Ooh, but Storm Breath isn't bad. So he gets to attack with Storm Breath and a couple of goblins here.
Yep.
And get in for 5. So BBD has more problems on his hands. Now the Siege Rhino doing a good job of holding the Rabble Master back. Excuse me, but now there's more problems to be dealt with here. Steve thinks about playing his Haven of the Spirit Dragon and ultimately says, sure, yeah, I'll play it. Draw a card here for Brian Bronduin. Finds himself up a game, playing for top 8 here in Providence. He's got to get by Steve Rubin. No small feat. Steve's ranked number 23 in the world right now. He's a Platinum Pro. He's had a really great season. He's 12-2, just like Brian Bronduin is. And looking to even things up here on the game count, put himself in a spot to win a game and get into the top 8 of this GP. BBD does nothing. Just passes a turn back. And that's going to produce a second Rabble Master.
I think we're going to see first Goblin Rabble Master get into combat this turn. Yes, we are.
So this is a trade, and this is going to be Hero's Downfall to take down the Stormbreath Dragon. But this still has BBD taking 3 damage here and trading Rabble Master for a Siege Rhino. And next turn, he's dead. So this is a big draw step here for BBD, and he's stuck with these self-inflicted wound in hand, and it's not going to get the job done. I think he did draw an ultimate price here, though. But is it too late? He can use it, then he takes 3, goes to 1.
Yeah, well, there's a Haven in play, so Stormbreath Dragon's coming back.
Just coming back anyway.
It's just coming back.
Yeah, it was just too much from Steve Rubin. So as good as the draw was for BBD in the first game, Steve Rubin shows him how it's done. Kills his first threat, produces a few threats of his own. BBD's hand didn't line up well with it, and we're going to game 3.
Yeah, we see Severson and Josh Ravitz also shuffling. Don't know what the game score is over there.
Yeah, can take a look and see maybe if we know. Severson won the first game against Ravitz there.
So here we go. Let's just take a look again at our top of our standings here after 14 rounds of play. This is the last round of Swiss before we get to the top 8. We know 4 members of our top 8, or pretty certain. It will be Sky Mason, Oliver TU. By the way, Oliver playing 5-color dragon deck with a base black-green. We have not had a chance to see him on camera. He's drawn the last 2 rounds. Josh McLean, Neil Sachs, winner of Brian Braun-Duin, the winner of Steve Rubin, the winner of Eric Severson and Josh Ravitz. Then we have, just taking a look at how these pairings work. Yeah, so it's in order. Rafe Istvan and Scott Metcalfe, Tom Strong and Robert Vaughn. Well, Tom Strong's playing Pedro Carvalho, actually.
Yeah.
And Robert Vaughn's playing Matt Tumovich. So Vaughn and Carvalho can both get themselves to 37, in which case we'd have a few too many people at the dance. And one person's going to miss. Currently looks like it would be Robert Vaughn, based on the way tiebreakers. And there you see, of course, Alexander Hayne has won his match already to get to 36 points and a 3-point finish at this Grand Prix, which puts him well out in front of the Grand Prix Player of the Year race. So big finish this weekend from Hayne. Still a point short of platinum, though, which is
that's a huge milestone for a player like Hayne.
Yeah. So he's going to need to find a point at a Grand Prix or a point. He's going to need to do a little better than a minimum finish at the Pro Tour.
Yeah, those are tough to find. I mean, the PT is a PT. You never know, and you're facing top
yeah,
competition.
you start off on a bad draft. Something goes,
Yeah,
your draft plan is wrong.
Yeah.
But we're underway here with Josh Ravitz and Eric Severson. Severson makes the first play of the game. He's got a Sylvan Caryatid here on turn 2. Ravitz has a Death Mist Raptor. Takes a little bit of damage to do that. Will Bamp Megamorph knock an Obzon deck out of top 8 contention.
It is certainly possible. That first game looked pretty strongly in Eric Severson's favor. Now we're post board.
See a card like Glare of Heresy in hand for Eric Severson. Card gets any number of difficult to deal with cards, whether it's Elspeth or Siege Rhino. I mean, pretty much those two.
Yeah.
But there you see it, Elspeth in hand for Josh Ravitz.
Yeah, he's decided to leave the Den Protector on top of his library, off of that scry land there, the Temple of Malady.
So Severson sends in his morph. No block from Ravitz. I think we're going to see Dragon Lord Ojutai make an appearance.
It'd be fantastic for Severson. Makes life very difficult for Ravitz. He'd like to deploy threats or answer things on his turn, but if Dragon Lord Ojutai is sitting there, he has to basically say go, and then it's up to Eric Severson whether he wants to open that up or not.
Right. And
this is
Ravitz
the
is
beauty of this card.
Two turns away from being able to Elspeth it.
Yes.
So in comes Death Mist Raptor. And Josh Ravitz has to pass the turn. A morph for Severson. Do we have Severson's deck list here? Yeah. Curious if he's playing Stratus Dancer. Doesn't look like he is.
All right, here's Dromica's command for Josh Ravitz. Looks like he's going to put a counter on his Corsair Crufix and fight that morph. The one on Severson's right-hand side there. Which is going to prompt him to turn up, which Must be a den protector here.
He's going to get himself back a fetch land.
Yeah, just get it back a fetch line. I think that Ravitz can certainly live with that. Draws a second copy of Cloister of Crucifix and even finds a land on top.
Okay, well, we'll keep you updated on this game. We're going to go back to our main table here. There you see Brian Brunduin on your left.
Yeah, where we have a game 3.
He's got an Anafenza in play on turn 3. And what is the response from Steve Rubin? Is it going to be a no, it is a face-up Radical Mystic, no third land.
Uh-oh, this could be a quick one. Brian Bronduin's deck has the capability of really punishing slow draws like that. He's got the removal to kill the mana creature here.
Oh, yeah, he's got the Drumlicus command in hand.
Ugh.
He's got a pair of Wingmate Rocks in hand.
I don't think he has any more lands, does he? Let's see him. Is that a Temple of Plenty in his hand? Well, we'll find out here. All right, so on offense of the foremost, Crunch is in there for 4. And he's just going to play the Death Dealer and pass here. It looks like he's decided to let Steve have his fun for 1 turn. This does set up an explosive next turn. And Rubin's found a forest here as well.
It's going to be Draconic Roar, revealing a dragon.
Yeah, revealing the Thunderbreak Regent to take down the Death Dealer now. And also a forest. Wow.
Wow, that's a
Rending
volley
to take
out
down
of
on
the
a
sideboard.
Fenza. Holy smokes, that was a great turn for Rubin. And no response here from Brian Bronduin. He went from having a huge board state to having none, and now misses a land drop and passes the turn back. Wow, the pendulum may have just swung right back in Steve Rubin's direction here in game 3. Randy, you got an update?
Patrick Dickmon versus Willie Edel. Crucial turn, Dickmon attacks with Ojutai. Willie murderous cuts it not once but twice. Patrick Dickmon defends it with Disdainful Stroke, not once but twice.
Wow.
Ojutai led Patrick to victory. So Patrick apologized at the end. Willie Edel does not pass Tiago Saporito. He's actually behind him on tiebreakers now, even on pro points, but Tiago's the one with the Pro Tour top 8 this season. So
we're going to be seeing
Latin
really
American invite to World's going to come right down to the end.
Meanwhile,
Thank you,
self-inflicted wound gets Deathmiss Raptor.
Okay. Gets.
Yeah, gets it.
Air quotes.
Yeah, for now. Slows it down.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, how much does Deathmiss Raptor care? And judging based on the artwork, doesn't care at all.
Yeah.
Happy dancing on the street, even in the graveyard.
Okay, we see a morph.
Yeah, this is another Rattleclaw Mystic here.
Yep. There's a land. So he can flip up that Rattleclaw Mystic and get back his Deathmiss Raptor.
Probably prefer to wait till his turn.
Yes.
But he has that backup plan. This has been a good game so far. It looked like Brian Bronduin might just shut the door on it immediately, but it was Steve Rubin who immediately came back with 2 burn spells to stabilize the board.
Look at his graveyard. It gives you an idea of what the games are like. Draconic Roar, Rending Volley.
Yeah.
And
All
a
right.
Deathmiss Raptor. So
Here is Surrak the Hunt Caller. He showed up with no friends, though, so just a 5/4 here. Brian Bronduin's deck is very good at making Surrak haste, but not this game. So back comes Rattleclaw Mystic. Or I should say Deathmiss Raptor comes back off of the Rattleclaw Mystic. And Rubin's got to decide what he wants to do. Steve has a Stormbreath Dragon in his hand. He can fire that off and just start rumbling. He's at 14 life, and he's got BBD
I think he's also got a
down to
Thunderbreak
11.
Regent.
He does. Yeah, he revealed that one to the Draconic War earlier, so that's an option.
Question of whether or not he wants to. Yeah, he's just going to send in the Raptor.
Okay, so Raptor's going to drop BBD down to 8, and he's going to play another Raptor and another Raptor. Holy smokes. And this is all with the follow-up Stormbreath with haste, you know, to keep BBD at a virtual 4 life here.
Yeah, BBD has Wingmate Rocks to sort of hold the ground here, but he does not have not only doesn't have a second white source, doesn't look like he
this
has
is
a fifth land.
brutal for BBD. Just can't get these threats out of his hand. It looked like he was so far ahead, but now the ball is firmly in Steve Rubin's court here. He is going to be able to finish off this game.
Here comes Storm Breath Dragon.
In the next turn or two, maybe even this turn. He's got a set of Death Mist Raptors. And everybody hits the red zone. So BBD can block a Death Mist, and there's nothing he can do. Steve Rubin advances to the top 8 here. He wins his winning in against Brian Bronduin. Tough loss for BBD there. And you see the I won shrug there from Steve Rubin, but he's been saying that a lot lately. He should get used to that one.
So is the Josh Ravitz Severson match over, or are they? It looks like that it's not
I would
over
say no, yeah.
based on the judge sitting there, so that would mean Josh evened it up, or see if we can get a confirmation on that they're heading for game 3. They are going to game 3, so we're going to bring you some more live magic as soon as Eric Severson gets back from getting a plate of nachos or doing something else, whatever you do in between games 2 and 3. You have a match of magic with lots of pressure on you.
Usually sideboard.
So let's take a little look at what Ravitz and Severson are playing. Talk about Severson's.
That was a tough loss for BBD. I don't know if you caught that head shake from him there.
Yeah, it was a huge match for him. All right, so
Severson has
back.
returned.
So again, this is the Bant Megamorph deck. Playing a handful of cards we have not really seen a lot of. We've obviously seen a lot of Den Protectors and Death Mist Raptors this week, and a lot of Elspeths. But Johnny Steadfast, Mastery of the Unseen in the main deck, Disdainful Stroke in the main deck. It's kind of just a sweet value-y kind of, kind of concoction here. Gain a lot of life. Do a lot of, just tap all your mana all the time. Main deck Valorous Stance, main deck Dromica's Command. Couple Dragon Lord Urge Ties. It's really just showcasing the power of that package of Death Mist Raptor and Den Protector.
Den Protector, yeah. It's really come to dominate Standard. If you want to play mid-range, that is one of the best ways to go. We've seen that deck outgrind even the blue-black type decks of the format, and just basically draw more cards, more card advantage than them. All right, you get a look at our competitors here.
So we're gonna stay with this game all the way through to the end here.
Yep, that's Josh Ravitz on the right side there.
We do have another match being recorded, but we'll get to that when this one's over.
Yep. Eric Severson, Wisconsin player, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Josh is originally from New Jersey. I think he lives in Philadelphia these days.
Yeah, sort of. Jersey, Philadelphia all sort of smear into the same.
They do? I'm from the West Coast, man. We think of those as very different things.
Yeah, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, Philadelphia.
Just all one big
all one big
place.
Yeah, one big not Manhattan.
There's an Elvish Mystic on turn 1 for Severson. And Josh Ravitz.
That's it. I live in New Jersey.
Yeah. So Ravitz kicks things off with a Scryland here. The real question is, can Eric capitalize on his quick mana start with an Elvish Mystic? He's going to crack a Flooded Strand, so that's a start.
Turn 2 Death Mist Raptor, turn 2 Morph.
Yeah, Morph, whatever. How about a Fleecebane line on turn 2? He's even going to attack with his Elvish Mystic. All right, so Severson positioned himself to be the aggressor here. You see that Ravitz is probably not thrilled with that. He's got an Ugin in his hand for starters, but looks like he can get things going here. He's got a Satyr Wayfinder he can deploy here on turn 2. Keep the land drops flowing. Looks like he busted a sleeve there pretty good too, which he somehow hasn't noticed yet. All right, well, guess we're just going to play with the busted sleeve. 1, 2, 3, and he's hit multiple lands here, so whichever one he wants, they're both the same.
That's what I like to see in standard. A deck playing Temple of Mystery.
That's what you like to see?
That's what I like to see.
I like that too. Cool artwork on that card as well. If you're into that kind of thing. Just Fleecemane is going to attack Josh Ravitz here. Drop him down to 15 life. Is there a follow-up play here for Severson?
It looks like he's got Mastery of the Unseen in hand. Also has himself in Caryatid.
Oh, he's just going to play the Caryatid here. He's got 2 Mastery of the Unseen in the main deck here, 1 in the sideboard. And he's kept them in even though, I think didn't he get Dromoka's commanded last game? Maybe not. Oh, no, he did. There's 2 of them on the board for Ravitz. So, that's interesting. It looks like he wants to try to set it up so that he can play the Mastery and activate it the same turn just in case it gets hit anyway. Just needs 1 more mana to be able to do that. All right, Fleecemane Lion not afraid of the Courser of Crew fixes. He's got the mana to make it monstrous here if he'd like. That might be his plan anyway. You know, Josh is playing Abzan. He does have access to a lot of different forms of removal here.
Elspeth, Crux,
Yeah.
and Hostility. Although I don't think Josh is playing Crux.
Oh, but, you know, he's got a
Oh,
Hero's
he does. Yeah,
Downfall
he
in
has
his
Crux, he
hand,
has
for
Crux as
example.
well.
Yeah, he's just going to monstrous it now. Get in for that extra point of damage. And while the shields are down for Josh Ravitz, Eric Severson has played... Oh, he's played a threat that is pretty darn tough to deal with. You know, it is just 1 Siege Rhino away from being stable, but it's not great news for Ravitz that his opponent already has the 4/4 at monstrous Fleecemane Lion going. Another Courser of Crew fix. He's got yet another one in his hand as well. Josh is trying to decide if
playing
he
a Scryland
or a Triland.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I would assume he doesn't want to draw that Wayfinder, but he's got 2 lands in his hand right now. Yeah, it looks like he does actually want to draw it. And he's going to rumble for 2 as well. Gaining 2 life here. Looking to try to set up Ugin, right? You know, if he can keep his land drops flowing, he can chump block a couple of times, he can gain a bunch of life off of the coursers. He's already got 2. There's a 3rd one incoming. Here's Dromoka's command, which he could use to... Let's see what he's going to do. Severson's deciding how he wants to approach.
And fight.
Could.
Get rid of both coursers.
Well, you know, does it work that way? Doesn't he just sack the one
Sure.
that it's going to get fought anyway? Right, yeah, he does. So he actually just kills the Wayfinder. That's the second time today we've seen the Wayfinder die to an actual removal spell. He does get one of the coursers off the battlefield too, though, and gets an attack. And there's the follow-up play now for Severson, Master of the Unseen. So as this game goes longer, he can start generating value from that, even if it is a bit slow. And right on cue, Josh finds Drown in Sorrow on top of his library, though it doesn't look like it's going to stay there. I think Josh is deciding how he wants to sequence these plays out. He does have another courser in his hand. Well, he's going to start things off with Satyr Wayfinder. And he finds a couple of different lands there. Yeah, that's a beautiful forest. It's a Guru Forest BDM. It's Reese Nielsen, just gorgeous artwork on those. All right, grabs the forest and plays that courser. It's going to gain him a life. And he's going to pass the turn back. So Josh Ravitz finds himself with 5 mana here, a.k.a. not quite enough. He's going to need to hit land drops continually here. He chump blocks, finds a Crux of Fate, but again, that Fleecemane line is really an issue. Can Josh survive long enough to get Ugin down? That takes care of the Fleecemane. That takes care of the Master of the Unseen.
Doesn't do much for the Master of the Unseen.
The Manifest.
Manifest.
That's true. But remember, he's got a Crux on top. I don't think he ended up drawing the Drown in Sorrow, though, right?
No,
he
the
got one in his graveyard.
Drown in Sorrow got pushed.
Yeah.
Milled past with the Wayfinder.
Wayfinder, so that's not going to happen. That's, you know, Eric Severson's hitting from a lot of different angles here and really keeping the pressure on Josh, so this is not going to be easy. Josh has a lot of options in his hand, though. I saw that he's got an Abzan Charm. He's also going to hit his land drop for the turn. He, of course, has that Ugin sitting there still. And you know what?
Pushes Crux of Fate.
He's just done with it.
There's Dromoka's command.
Well, that can get rid of the Mastery next turn. He's going to play, I believe, a Deathmist Raptor face down here. And this is a Deathmist Raptor check from Severson. Reveals no such thing. And on end step, Severson is going to make a manifest with his Mastery of the Unseen, ever increasing his board presence here.
Yeah, oh, by the way, Eric Severson sitting on Disdainful Stroke while Josh scratches and claws his way towards Ugin.
He's got Disdainful Stroke in hand?
Yes, he does.
Wow. Josh is at 10. Fleecemane Lion's attacking for 4. And Josh doesn't have any reasonable blocks here, so he's just going to take the 4 damage. Drop down to 6. Severson content to just pass the turn with his Master of the Unseen up. Ooh, there's a land on top, though, for Josh Ravitz. So
7.
he is moving his way towards, but he hasn't seen a Thoughtseize.
There's a Den Protector.
Okay, now that could... Again, we're thinking ultra long term here,
Yeah,
but
Josh
he's
is
only
at
1
6.
turn away from getting Ugin down, assuming he finds a land that's untapped by next turn. Here's Dromoka's command. He's got to decide how he wants to use this. Assuming that make you sacrifice an enchantment's on the list. And I guess he's going to fight an elf here.
Sure.
Okay, yep, that and that. Now there was, of course, Eric was already making a
That was a
manifest.
response to a manifest.
Yep.
Hey, Randy, what do you got for us here?
Remember Robert Vaughn, the 34-pointer that got pared down? Yeah, he won.
Ooh.
So somebody's going to miss this tie bait on tiebreakers. Now, it could be Robert Vaughn, but it could also be Josh McClain or Neil Sachs. So stay tuned. Top 8 announcement will be a sweat for those 3 guys.
Excellent.
Oof.
Excellent.
There's the Deathmist Raptor that Josh had played face down. It looked a lot like a Den Protector from Severson's side. He left 2 mana up,
Right, right.
that whole thing, but it actually was a Deathmist Raptor, which is just going to block here. And here's the Deathmist Raptor again. You got to feel like Josh is slowly working his way towards getting this thing done, but like you said, he's going to have to work through some counter spells here as well. Is he thinking of firing off the Abzan Charm to draw some cards here? He knows one of them's Den Protector. He does need to hit his land untapped next turn if he's going to even attempt an Ugin. That means that the top card of his library is going to have to be an untapped land. Now he's going to use it to exile the Deathmist Raptor here. He figures that'll make the game go longer for him anyway. And does he hit? No. Dromoka's command. Now this one is the den protector. He can use this to get a land if he'd like. Now if he's not in a big hurry, he doesn't have to. He can use it to grab whatever.
Right.
Josh is at 8. This is game 3, and this is a winning in for top 8 here in Providence, so I'm sure the blood is flowing good down in the feature match area here as the tensions will be raised.
Okay. Flip up. Den protector.
And what did he get back? Is it an Elspeth? What was it? I saw him point at that. I think an Elspeth in there maybe. Let's see what he grabs.
Yes.
Whoop, Elspeth. All right, well, he looks like he's going to be able to overload Eric Severson by saying, okay, here's an Elspeth. You want to counter this? Because he does.
Sure.
Like, you know, that basically blanks the Fleece main line. It's just never getting through the 1-1 soldiers that Elspeth leaves behind. But then that could open the door for Ugin if Josh can find that land.
Josh decides where to block.
He's just going to chump block again, maintaining his life total as high as possible here. Blocks with a courser.
Yeah.
Interesting. Ooh, there's a land on top. Unfortunately, it is of the tapped variety. And wow, Josh Ravitz has transitioned nicely to the late game here. He's going to play out an Elspeth, which was very likely to draw a disdainful stroke.
Snap off a disdainful stroke.
Yeah,
there.
but Josh knows that he's going to get to play another Elspeth next turn, and he's even got the backup Ugin plan as well. Now I wonder if Eric has an Elspeth of his own. I think he just drew it. He did. Wow. Haymakers abound. Josh has no such thing as a counterspell here. He's on Obzon. He doesn't get access to cards like Disdainful Stroke. So Eric Severson gets Elspeth down.
His thought sees where the other deck has Disdainful Stroke.
Exactly. Okay, we could have an old-fashioned Elspeth fight. There's a decent one with a Siege Rhino. But this is where the opening could have been for an Ugin.
So Josh can play his Ugin here, fire it off, get rid of everything but the 2 manifests. That's a little scary. Falls to 5, and who knows what those.
I mean,
creatures
Severson
are.
does have 1 and a blue up here as well.
Instead, plays the Elspeth.
Is this the tester Elspeth? Yeah, and it's going to work. Disdainful Stroke's going to get it.
Disdainful Stroke.
This is actually pretty good news for Josh. Assuming he can survive this turn, he's got Eric Severson out of cards. He can slam Ugin, wipe away most of the board here.
But we're at
4,
the
5,
point
6,
where
7.
Severson can attack with everything. Will he attack with his manifest? No, he just attacks.
Well, this is where Josh wants to block with his Raptor here, right? Like, he'd actually just rather have that thing in the yard, because if he's going to play Ugin next turn, it's going to get exiled. And he'd rather have it in the graveyard in case he draws a morph manifest, something like, or a morph creature in the next few turns.
More tokens for Severson. 1 card in hand.
Wow, this is great stuff. Is Josh thinking about maybe killing one of the manifests with his Dromica's command here?
He is.
Fight that one, whichever one. And this one happened to be a Temple of Plenty. But that is going to mean that after Josh resolves his Ugin, and of course Siege Rhinos and packs, but here comes Ugin. This one's resolving.
Disdainful Stroke
it
number 3!
was a Disdainful Stroke off the top for Severson. Brutal. Wow, Josh set that up beautifully, running the 2 Elspeths in, and he drew the 3rd Disdainful Stroke, and that's going to earn him the victory. Severson advances, and Josh Ravitz is going to have to stomach a tough loss there. He really, I thought he put himself in a great position to stabilize.
With that Ugin.
Yeah, he was waiting and had it all set up, and it turns out
the 2nd Disdainful Stroke.
Yeah.
But
brutal.
there was a 3rd. To take the
He top decked it.
Yeah.
He had no cards in hand. He had him down to nothing, just 1 unknown card. And of course, it was Disdainful Stroke. Wow. Okay, well, let's take a look at Scott Metcalfe versus Raif Istvan here.
These guys are also, playing for a clean spot into the top 8.
Okay.
The winner of this match has 39 points and is in.
Wow. I need to take a deep breath
I
after
know,
that
I'm
one.
like,
that was savage.
My heart's in my throat.
I mean, I love the way that Josh maneuvered that game. He was building up to that Ugin the whole time. All right, I got to digress here. We're on a different match. So Scott Metcalfe versus Raif here. And, well, it looks like Scott's doing a little Abzan beatdown here.
A little red-green devotion from Raif.
Yeah.
We see 2 Whisperwood Elementals and a Hornet Queen.
Okay, so the question is mana. Can Raif get a lot of mana going? And, well, he added 2 mana effectively to his board this turn, so he's starting to answer that question for us here. He blocked the Death Dealer with the carry added, just tempting Scott to pump, but he did not do it.
Okay, here's a morph for Raif.
If that's a Rattleclaw, he can get down to business next turn. Hero's Downfall to kill an elf. All right, another block, and this time he is going to pump. Wow, so Raif just lost his Sylvan Caryatid to just 2 mana, no card there from Scott Metcalfe. That can't be good for him, but it looks like he's got a backup plan.
Yeah.
He does.
It gets the Hornet Queen onto the table.
Hornet Queen and friends.
But again, we're going to see the issue of an indestructible Fleeceman
Takes a
Lion.
long time to chew through.
Yep.
All right,
5/5 indestructs.
Yes, so he got a +1/+1 counter from Anafenza, and then also did Monstrous, which put a counter on it too. So 5/5 indestructible will chew through eventually, but as you can see,
Oh boy.
eventually could be forever here. I mean, Raif is going to have infinite chump blockers here, and depending on what his life total is at, he could even just take the hit for a turn. And he ends the turn by making a manifest with his Whisperwood Elemental, and Raif looks like he's in great shape here in this game. Let's see what Scott can do about it. He's going to pump and regenerate his Death Dealer to kill the Death Mist Raptor, but Raif's shown that he's not above just chump blocking.
He just
And,
attacks with everybody
that's the game.
for the win. Raif Istvan takes game 1 there very quickly.
Yeah, he did hit the mana. Lost his elf, lost his Caryatid, did not matter.
All right, here we go. Turn 2. Break a couple of Windswept Heaths and play a Fleecemane Lion for Scott Metcalfe.
Okay, so big mana and big threats here for Raif. Again, just going over the top of this Abzan aggro deck thus far. Abzan Charm, though, is a nice answer to take down the Whisperwood Elemental and clear the way for an attack. You know, Scott doesn't have a big window to do that, and he did it in the second shortest option. There is a manifest left over, but he was able still to kill the Whisperwood here.
There's a Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx. Lots of mana coming up.
Jeez, and there it is again. Hornet Queen, such an issue for Scott Metcalfe. He's just going to draw 2 off of his Abzan Charm here on end step. Maybe trying to find a Drown in Sorrow, something like that. It's so rough to just try to plow through what Hornet Queen brings to the table.
Crux, Drown in Sorrow, End Hostilities.
I mean, is he bringing in Crux in his Abzan aggro deck? Or is this not an... It is an aggro deck. We saw Death
Yeah, but you
Dealers.
see the decks will sometimes go
Try
after
to shift
sideboard
roles.
and shift.
Sure.
I mean, well, there you go.
Wow.
Hornet Queen for the win. Raif Istvan through to the top 8.
Wow. Congratulations to Raif.